Well, now we can add 2 more names to the creeps list that just keeps on growing and growing and going and going like that damn Energizer Bunny. Russell Simmons and Brett Ratner have both been accused of tag teaming this individual, this lady. Well, at the time she was a minor, back in maybe the early 90s, maybe, because it says she was 17 years old. Basically, they ran a train on her, in layman's terms. Well, first off, let me start off with Brett Ratner, and then I'm going to go into Russell Simmons. Brett Ratner has been in the industry for a very long time. He's been known to direct a lot of, I would say, black artist music videos. Like, he's been tied to a lot of acts who are black, whether in R&B or in hip hop. And he's done a couple of movies here and there, but I don't think he's really good in the direction of movies, in my opinion. He's more geared towards doing music videos. But like I said, this is not surprising to me at all. If this is all indeed true, it's not surprising. I really don't have much to say about Brett Ratner. I'm just bringing him into the fold because it's involving him too, because I really want to go in on Russell Simmons. And shout out to Harvey Superboy, because he went in on Russell Simmons. I saw that video on my way to the gym today, and that was some therapeutic, I would say, content in order for me to get to the gym today. Russell Simmons always, to me, as a person, rubbed me the wrong way. He just seemed very shady to me. I don't know what it is. It's like sometimes you can always tell when somebody is just doing dirty shit behind the scenes, and it just exudes that. And that's what, to me, Russell Simmons is as a person, is just a very shady individual. Now, it's saying that the woman was 17 at the time, and she was basically sexually assaulted by these 2 men. I said when it comes to Russell Simmons, it doesn't surprise me because I can tell that he likes them young. Let's go back to when he first met Kimora Lee before her last name became Simmons when she married him. He met her at some kind of fashion show, I think overseas somewhere. At the time, Kimora was 17. So when this story first came out, I was like, are they talking about Kimora? I said that couldn't possibly be, because then her story wouldn't really sit right, especially since she ended up marrying this man and giving him 2 kids. So I said it had to be somebody else, and then it turned out to be that was the case, because the woman involved with this is too also a model. I wonder if her and Kimora knew each other, maybe they probably did knew each other. They appear to probably be around the same age range. But it doesn't surprise me that this is all coming out, considering he was messing around with Kimora when she was 17. Of course, back then you didn't have social media, so you couldn't really dive into their relationship that way, and people would really know about it. But eventually it did all come out. But that was years later, after I think they had divorced. So at that point, a lot of people didn't care. But also, when I used to watch the show Run's House, which was probably one of the best quote-unquote reality shows that I've ever watched, because it was real family-oriented, with Rev Run and his family. He would appear on some episodes, and something about him, whenever he was on there, he just gave off asshole tendencies. Like, go back and watch a couple of episodes of Run's House when he was on there. He just gave off asshole tendencies every time the camera was on him. I don't know if it was all an act or if that's how he really is, but I tend to go with the latter, and I think that's how he really is. And I cannot stand hearing him talk because he has that lisp. Whenever he advertised that damn Visa Rush car on BET back in the day, like back when 106 and Park was still on, because they used to advertise that damn Visa Rush card all the time. But now you don't really hear about it anymore, and I think they probably fell under because a lot of people thought it was a scam. And it probably was, knowing Russell Simmons, Russell the Hustler, as Harvey called him in his video, Russell the Hustle. Or the Hustle Russell, whatever it was he said. But I never was one to buy into that whole Visa Rush card anyway. I just got tired of seeing it because I got tired of hearing him in that goddamn list, that Visa Rush card. That's how he sound. Whenever I talk about Russell Simmons and I have to type something out, I have to type it in his language, because that list, that thing is serious. But this is not surprising. It looks like Russell Simmons' arrogance has finally caught up with him. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to read this article that is coming from the Los Angeles Times. Carrie Clausen Kaligi was a 17-year-old fashion model from a farm town in Nebraska when she met Brett Ratner and Russell Simmons at a casting call. Ratner was an up-and-coming music video director and a protege of Simmons, the Def Jam recordings mogul. They took Kaligi to dinner one night in 1991 at Mr. Chow in New York, and then back to Simmons' apartment to show her a music video they'd been working on. Quickly, Simmons began making aggressive sexual advances, yanking off her clothes, according to Kaligi. I looked over at Brett and said, "Help me," and I'll never forget the look on his face. In that moment, the realization fell on me that they were in it together. Kaligi said Simmons, who was then about twice her age, tried to force her to have intercourse. "I fought it wildly," she said. "He eventually relented and coerced her to perform oral sex. I can't even pronounce this damn word. But you pretty much get what I was going to say." Rather, meanwhile, just sat there and watched. Feeling disgusting, Kaligi said she went to take a shower. Minutes later, she alleged Simmons walked up behind her in the shower and briefly penetrated her without her consent. She said she jerked away, then he left. It hurt so much. In a statement, Simmons, age 60, strongly disputed her account. "Everything that occurred between Curry and me occurred with her full consent and participation. Much of the 2 days and 1 night he spent with her," he said, "was with other people or in public." Ratner had no recollection of Kaligi asking him for help and did not witnessing her protest. His attorney, Martin Singer, said, "They're in this shit together like they are in it together like this woman said." And then there's one other thing that I wanted to bring up. And I'm glad that Harvey mentioned this in his video because I wouldn't have remembered it in mine. Terry Crews, when he came out and talked about that Adam Bennett guy who touched his junk in front of his wife, guess what Russell Simmons came right back and said? He's basically said that, basically in so many words he should have played go along to get along. In other words, just like play along with it. He shouldn't have said anything. What grown man says that to another grown man who has just been violated in front of his wife? That makes me look at Russell Simmons with a mean side eye, and this is a black man saying this to another black man. Russell would never say that to another white man. That's why I say he is shady. I have been said for years that Russell Simmons just comes off as a shady person to me. It's all in the body language and how they talk, how they act around people. It's just I'm sure if you go look into and dive into the past of Russell Simmons, you'll find some shit that'll make you say that this guy is not to be trusted. It says Ratner has also disputed the accounts of 4 other women who accused him of sexual misconduct in the story. In a previous report from the Times that included the claims of 6 others, among them actress Olivia Munn and Natasha Henstridge. Since that November 1st report, which detailed allegations of harassment, groping, and forced oral sex, additional women contacted the Times about Ratner, who has directed, produced, or financed successful films, including Rush Hour, The Revenant, and Horrible Bosses. In several of the accounts, the women said that Ratner, age 48, surrounded himself with powerful friends, including Simmons and filmmaker James Toback, who, while sharing Ratner's playboy lifestyle, have also been accused of engaging in sexual misconduct. Those friendships, some women said, enable inappropriate behavior within the group, sometimes by active participation, and in other cases by simply providing venues for incidents to take place. These women and other older controversial Hollywood friends, including producer Robert Evans and filmmaker Roman Polanski, oh God, have served as father figures to Ratner, who had a distant relationship with his late dad. Evans, the former Paramount Pictures production chief who was convicted of trafficking cocaine, once explained his relationship with Ratner in a 2007 Vanity Fair story. "I was his Hollywood father. I don't know whether I should be proud of that or not." And then it just goes into some more things as well. I'll post the link to this article down because it's a very, very lengthy article. It's a long article, and I don't want to waste too much of your time just reading that article. But y'all pretty much see where I'm going with this. But I'll leave the link in the description. But yeah, this is what Russell Simmons gets. This is what Brett Ratner gets, but especially Russell Simmons. After all them shady stuff that he's done in his past, it is all catching up with him. And like I say in my heroin videos, I feel absolutely nothing for this guy. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. The links to my email, PayPal, and Patreon are in the description. Have your notifications turned on.